Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where today you join me in downtown Ann Arbor on a frigid 29-degree Michigan winter's day with the 2025 Toyota Camry XSE all-wheel drive. Today we're doing a bit of a backwards commute, the drive home, if you will. And you'll notice we're in a bit of an unfamiliar parking structure because our typical one closed its roof for the winter. It must be a little bit too slippery, but never mind, we have a backup structure which today has a lot of ambient city noise going on. So we'll try and make this exterior walk around kind of quick for you today. But I'm excited because I haven't spent any time with the new 9th generation Camry yet. I spent some time with an 8th gen. Emily and I actually road trip went to Chicago back in the day before we actually recorded our road trips, which is a shame because that was a very nice car to road trip. But I'm excited to show you what this new 9th gen is about on our real world city commute today. Excited to see what kind of MPG we pull off with this thing, as it is rated at 44 miles to the gallon. Obviously front wheel drive cars are rated a bit higher, but this is the top of the line all-wheel drive XSE, which means this is a $45,000 Toyota Camry. As much as I wish I could drive base models and show those off to you, this is kind of the reality of the press fleet. Toyota wants to show off all that they have to offer, so that is what we have today. This is finished in heavy metal with a contrasting black roof. We have a Cockpit Red interior, very TRD Pro of them. And my favorite part about this car are these $1,500 dealer accessory optional wheels. I think they look absolutely epic. They kind of make the whole appearance of this car. Now, this is a 9th generation Camry. Looks very similar to the 8th generation. It almost just looks like they took the 8th gen and gave it some very involved plastic surgery. I know a lot of the times we like to say cars get facelifts. This one looks like it went and got a full facial reconstruction surgery and butt lift as well, but the midsection is very much Camry still. So it is very familiar and recognizable. So, okay, let's go ahead and poke around this thing and then we're gonna jump in it, we're gonna commute it and see what that's all about. Popping the trunk here, no sort of trick power mechanism or anything like that. But what I love about the Camry is the size of it. I feel like this is kind of the perfect car size, if you will. Under the trunk floor, we do actually have a spare wheel and tire under our little foam kit here in a, what size is this? It's a Goodyear, and it's a 155/70/17, so that'll get you some places. And Toyota and Lexus are usually really good about putting spare tires in their vehicles. I had to use it on the Lexus IS 500 I was driving a couple of months ago because someone left a nail in the road, so it is always convenient to have one, and it's something that we're really not seeing a lot of these days. Lots of black exterior design language here on this XSE. We have a little dual-tipped muffler, though I think only one of the tips actually does anything because one of them has some black in it and the other one does not, so that tells me one of them is fake. And that trunk being the perfect size is kind of just an explanation for the rest of the car, because when I think of car, the word car, the Toyota Camry pops into my head, and it kind of always has, because this is one of the most cars that there still is. A lot of companies don't even make sedans anymore, so if you want a car, this is one of your only choices. There's this, there's the Altima, the Honda Accord. So kudos to Toyota for keeping the Camry around. I know people will continue to buy it, and a lot of the American manufacturers are really missing out with pulling out of this segment. Our first little look here at the Cockpit Red interior. I absolutely love this. I know they introduced this on the 8th gen Camry. Let's talk about back seat room. You've got this fold down armrest here with some cup holders. Sat behind myself at 5'11". I've got plenty of room, but the funny thing is, this back seat is not a whole lot bigger than cars that are in a class smaller than this, like the Hyundai Elantra and the Honda Civic. But I'm not complaining. I think the Camry is still the perfect size. Backseat room is just all right. We have some accent red stitching on these door panels. They actually look very, very nice. Not a whole lot else going on back here, but we do get some climate vents, which are important, and we get one of each USB port, an A and a C down here with little covers on them. Dual seat back pockets, and just kind of some nice depth to this leather. You can see these perforations are kind of uneven and have their own little design. Toyota's usually pretty good about their leather stuff. Anyways, let's jump out and let's talk about what powers this 2025 Toyota Camry. Gone is your option for a V6. You can no longer light up the front wheels and beat probably most things on the street in a city setting like this from 0 to 30 miles an hour or whatever, because you now only have one engine option. So every 2025 Camry is powered by Toyota's 5th gen hybrid system. In this car is all-wheel drive, makes 232 combined net horsepower from a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter 4-cylinder engine combined with a few electric motors. In this case, if you opt for a front-wheel drive Camry, you only get 225 horsepower. So the all-wheel drive system gives you 7 extra. Here's our little 4-cylinder under here, and obviously, you know, Toyota basically wrote the book on hybrids. So this all reacts very smoothly, transitions are very nice, and you would expect by their 5th generation, things are just about perfect. This 2.5 liter is backed by an eCVT, and then of course, obviously, all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive configurations are available. That is a pretty heavy hood, shuts with some mightiness there. But all right, well, here's our last look at the exterior. I'm freezing. Let's go ahead and jump in this, and we'll show you what it looks like up front, and then we'll go for a drive, see what it's like to do a commute in this. Nice detailing on these front door panels as well. I love the use of red here. I love the touch on the door panel. I love the touches on the dashboard. I think it all looks great. And the funniest thing here is I spent last week in a 2024 Range Rover Velar. And in my opinion, this has a nicer interior than that Range Rover by far. And it's not always necessarily the softness of leathers or the certain types of wood that you put in a car. It's kind of the dimension and the use of different materials in here to kind of split things up. And I love what they've done with this dashboard as well. I think the 8th gen Camry, it was a little bit busy here in the middle, too many lines going every which and every way. This just kind of cleans it up. It's classy. It still has dimension, and I don't know, the Camry's just grown up a little bit, and I really do enjoy it. Let's go ahead and start it up. I'm going to take my coat and gloves off, and then we'll continue with the review. The 2.5 liter has come to life, and we will have to adjust our final figure a little bit because we're going to idle here for a couple of minutes as we walk you through this interior. Everything is heated in here, which I love. Heated seats, ventilated. We have a 2-stage heated steering wheel, which doesn't really get that hot, but at least we have it. Fully physical climate control. They haven't ditched that for 25, which Toyota's pretty good about this no matter what. They keep things pretty easy to use. Nice vent placement here below our climate control panel. We've got a wireless charger. We have an extra cubby to the right of the wireless charger, which fits my phone. 2 cup holders, a very large center console, lots of places to put things. And I think that's very important for a car like this that is going to be the commuter. You're bringing things to work. You've got maybe a spouse with you. You're going on a road trip. You've got lots of places where things can live. Even in the door panels, you have room for some cups. So really, you can have 4 drinks up here at any given time. Love that. So just lots good here with the interior of the new Camry. It's a very good car. It works very well in that way. We even have this dealer accessory dash cam. We have a pano roof, which is part of the premium package in this car. It's like a $5,000 option group. We'll put the spec in the description, obviously, but what troubles me the most with this spec is that the Camry starts at $28,000. The XSE starts around $36,000. This one is $45 grand. So, I mean, going on almost $20,000 more than a base Camry. So maybe one day we'll get into a base and we can compare them. What I do know is that the Topher went to the launch event for this new Camry, and he told me that XLE and XSE trims are way quieter on the highway and they drive quite a bit nicer. We have some different suspension tuning in this XSE and things like that. We have a JBL sound system, which we'll of course test as we get going. But before we take up any more time just sitting here idling, let's go ahead and get out on the road and show you what this is like to drive. So traditional shifter, which I like. We don't have like the Prius and Crown style LC500-ish shifter. This one is just very normal. You can see we have Toyota's panoramic view monitor, which will learn what the underside of the car is as you go. Love to see that. Started as off-road tech, but now we're seeing it in pretty much everything. This will be a good turning circle test. I don't think we're going to make this, though. Oh, no, we're totally going to make it. See that? Look at these cameras popping up as I get close to those barrels. That's very, very nice. Okay, cool. Quite maneuverable, and there's no crazy feel or anything to the steering, but it's very functional. It works well. It's a nice weight. And I don't need to be on the ragged edge in my Camry. I just want to be comfortable. And this steering's on the lighter side. But I think that's good for a car like this. I think this is a perfect steering weight for the Camry. Ride is superb, even on these dealer accessory 19-inch wheels. I know I said in the beginning they kind of make the look of the car, and I'm going to stand by that. Would I option them on? I don't think I would, because I'd want to be comfortable, and I think the 19-inch wheel goes against the philosophy of the Camry a little bit. But I mean, even in here, over these speed bumps, ooh, that's a TRD Avalon. Yeah, we're doing just fine. Quite maneuverable, good visibility out of this. Big back window, I can see just fine. I don't feel like I need to have a camera. Really nice linear power, even at 9 miles per hour from this hybrid system. I know that's kind of a silly thing to say right off the bat, but these hybrid systems from Toyota just feel so natural. I was hoping I could wind down that, but they don't let you turn right in there, so. Okay. 2.5 liter coming to life there, seamless transition. Sometimes these Toyota 4-cylinders are loud, but I found this one to be a bit more muted than the Crown Signia and the Prius, which is kind of surprising. No problem placing this thing whatsoever. It is just such a great size. Meeting a new ticket man today.
Or scan your monthly card. Thank you for your business.
You are so welcome.
Drive safely.
I will. I promise. Okay, let's get this Camry out into the city. I think we're gonna probably do our route in a mostly normal fashion. We just kind of have to backtrack a little bit because this structure is a bit more in the bowels of the city. I am actually going to turn some of these heated elements off because I am very toasty. If there's one thing Toyota always gets right with their hybrids, their 4-cylinder hybrids at least, accelerator pedal feel, brake pedal feel, fantastic. Hard to beat with a hybrid, and they've just come so far. I know I say this every time I drive hybrids, but I'm just so impressed with the calibration on these, how they're able to make everything feel so natural when it is not natural whatsoever. They do such a good job simulating that. So far, 13 miles to the gallon. Not doing too hot. Hopefully we'll turn that up a bit as we do some more city miles here. And of course, there are ways to keep this in EV mode for extended periods of time. It's easiest to do while you're driving in the city, so you're not annoying other people in traffic. You have a physical button over here on the right-hand side where you can actually lock this into EV mode, which I'll do right now as I stop to let this man in a parka go across. I've never super understood why they give you a physical button for EV mode. Someone in the comments can educate me on that, but I mean, it still kicks you out regardless if you give it too much throttle. See, just like that, EV mode deactivated, speed range exceeded. So, I don't know. We have a few other drive modes down here, Eco, Normal, and Sport. We'll do most of today's drive in normal mode. We have a brake hold. That's always nice to see. 12.3-inch infotainment system. It's a new Google-based system with Toyota. We're seeing this in, I think, everything at this point. I think they all have it now. Fantastic. Any Google-based system, obviously, is going to do a great job. This one's no different. Quietness here is really quite impressive, and I will be quiet for a little bit to let you guys observe that. just a very relaxed experience. This is not rushing me. The only real noises you even hear in this are some of the interior materials. After 6,700 miles on this particular car are creaking a bit. I notice a bit from my driver's seat. I don't know that that even comes through on the mics, but there's a little bit of a creak from that. And then the driver's side door panel farts when you put your left elbow on it. Okay, this is becoming the surface of the sun inside this car. 64 degrees is a number I like better. Very narrow road. This is a great size. Even with this XSE having sport suspension tuning, whatever, the ride is fantastic. I mean, 0% crashy, 0% floaty. It's just dialed in really nicely. There's a nice firm feel to this that's very satisfying. There's a little bit of impact harshness, of course, with these 19-inch wheels, but not really the car's fault. Noise over bumps is not too bad. And my ergonomics in this interior are fantastic too. Driver's seat is nice. We have some good lumbar adjustment with the seat. Only goes in and out. I actually haven't even really had to use it this week. Elbow comfiness is decent. This center console, you can tell that they tried with this XSE. It's like leather wrapped, but otherwise I imagine this center console is just like a big piece of plastic. So it's kind of like when you have an old crappy mattress and you put a foam mattress topper on it that's very thin and you think that's going to fix the issue, but underneath it's still a crappy old mattress. That's kind of what this center console feels like on my elbow. And then on the passenger side, even though it creaks a little bit, my elbow's a little bit more comfortable. But ergonomically, everything in here is set up nicely. I love the size of the steering wheel. These two spokes here are perfect for my hands to rest on them. I think the steering wheel's a little bit ugly. I think design-wise, it could look better. But at least it feels nice. Even the leather on here is soft. We have contrast red stitching on our steering wheel. Lots of physical buttons that aren't haptic touch. It's such a good just car experience. If you want car, this is car, and it does such a great job at it. Of course, today we have a couple of things working against us as far as efficiency goes. For one, it is 29 degrees out, as I mentioned in the beginning. Cars are less efficient in the winter for a number of reasons, but that's working against us. Also, obviously, I'm running the climate control. For some reason, the passenger heated seat is on. We'll turn that off now. But I don't expect this to give us the 44 MPG combined figure today. Honestly, I'll be happy seeing anything over 30. On my way out here, obviously I had to commute this out to get to the parking structure. It got 33 miles to the gallon, and that's from essentially cold starting it, immediately throwing it into drive out on the way here, a little bit of highway, a little bit of city. It did 33. So I'm kind of expecting to see that exact number here for our ride back. I wish people could understand that the Toyota Camry is really all they need in a car. I mean, there's absolutely everything I need in here for a daily driver. There's nothing more. There's nothing in here that's unnecessary. It's just a very well purpose-built, properly sized car. It's fantastically average. And that's what I love so much about this. And other cars like the Honda Civic Hybrid, I think, does a great job of doing this. The Nissan Versa that I drove, the 5-speed manual Versa, I think that car did a great job of just being a car. And there's so much in America. Everyone wants excess, and I do understand that in some vehicles. And excess goes as far as size, interior amenities, anything. And I will be happy in here with my squeaky elbow rest and my red interior. That's the other thing, is this car is very attractive. It's very pretty. So don't think you're really sacrificing anything getting this as a daily driver. And as some of you know, I think these Toyota clusters are a little bit too busy, but we have some useful metrics here. Like this is telling me I can't turn right on red at this light. So that's quite helpful. I've got my speed limit. There's so much going on, and you can change bits of this cluster to have different designs, which we'll show you now. You can go through and, kind of have it say whatever you want it to say. But I don't know. It's just, I think it's kind of visually not very pleasing either. We even have a physical button over here on the left-hand side to dim our cluster. I mean, how often do you see that in new cars? Now, a bit of an oversight here. It doesn't dim the infotainment system, so you have to go in to your settings and into, where is it? Display, and then you have to adjust your brightness that way for this, which is a little bit annoying. That's one complaint I have with this car, but it's pretty insignificant. It's one of those things you can kind of just touch once and forget. Obviously, on this 12.3-inch infotainment, we have wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. We have built-in Google Maps. Everything works as it should. I've had 0 hiccups with this. I have actually had a lot of problems with wireless CarPlay lately, but the Toyotas actually do a really good job, and I've had minimal frustrations. Okay, let's get this merged onto the highway, and we'll get down to the business here of what this is like to actually commute, to sit in for long periods of time. We'll test out this JBL sound system. While the steering here is numb, like I said in the parking structure, I mean, I don't desire anything extra for a Camry. I think this is just fine. I don't think anybody's complaining about this steering. XSE gets you some steering wheel mounted paddle shifters as well. Not that you would really want to use them on a CVT. And we're going to thank this Semi for making that less perilous for us. Thank you, sir. All right, let's get a pass in. Great linear power here with this Gen 5 hybrid system. 232 horsepower is definitely not a lot, but it's fine for the platform. Actually, very, very quiet on the highway. All right, well, as we switch highways here onto I-94, we will get a sound system test queued up for you and test out this JBL. I drove the Crown Signia a couple weeks ago, and I emerged from that experience thinking, that is the best JBL I've ever heard in any Toyota. And this is the second best. Toyota's really genuinely stepped it up with these JBL systems, and that's really great news because over the last couple of years, I have not been impressed with a single JBL system in any Toyota. I think they're very mediocre. They're just not impressive in anywhere. They weren't. And the one in the Crown Signia is the first time I ever kind of thought, wow, that's a really good sound system. And the one in this Camry it's up there. It's a pretty good system. So nice to see Toyota investing some more money into these JBLs. The only thing I'll say bad about this is that the passenger door panel rattles really bad under bass. And it's weird because I don't hear any rattles from that door panel while I'm just driving the car. But when I've got music turned up loud, it shakes itself to pieces. So you've got a little bit of that kind of high-end feel when you have stuff rattling in the car. It's not really what you want. So a little bit disappointing. I think there's some fit and finish things here that they'll get figured out for the 26, the 27 model year as they build some more of these. Well, let's hang out over here on the right. We'll test out our cruise control. So there's a lot of standard driver aids that you get on the Toyota Camry. These are not necessarily unique to the XSE trim. We have lane tracing in this with adaptive cruise, all the stuff. And the lane tracing does a pretty dang good job keeping you centered. It does yell at you after about 10 seconds, though, of not having your hands on the wheel. Yep, so there is that. Let's go ahead and make a pass. Even though that person's getting off, it's okay. Okay. We're set to 74. Let's jump back over. So not the fastest reaction that I've felt in an adaptive cruise control system, but it's acceptable. I've got no problem with that. So we're going to be exiting up here on the left before you yell at me for driving in the middle or the left lane. Just know that we're exiting in a mile. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and sum this up. I've said it a million times. I think that this is just such a great solution for somebody that needs a commuter and even somebody that wants to use this car to go on road trips on the weekends. You know, plenty of room in the back, comfortable power passenger seat in this XSE. That's a good mark. Emily really enjoyed that this week. It's just a really good package. I think the packaging here is really, really hard to beat. The smoothness from this Gen 5 hybrid system, you're really not going to find that anywhere else. And there you go, looking like a 34 MPG final figure there for our Commute as we close it out here. And as we do, I want to just mention the base trim of this car one more time. Just consider $28,000 starting price, around a 50 mile per gallon combined rating, which is just unreal. You've got smaller wheels, it's going to ride better. You've still got, I think it's an 8-inch infotainment screen. You don't get the JBL, you don't get the Cockpit Red leather seats, but I think, honestly, I'll say this. I think no matter what spec of Camry you get, you're going to be happy. The only thing that makes me question these higher trim cars, I mean, this one being $45,000, is that the Lexus ES 250 all-wheel drive is cheaper than this. It's like a $43,000 starting MSRP, and I know that's with no options, but lots of standard kit that you get in that car. So it depends on what matters to you, and some people don't care about having a Lexus, so you know, maybe they want to go with a higher trim Toyota. But I don't know. I've had a good few days in this car. It's been great to live with. We're actually going to end this out a little bit higher than 34 MPG. It looks like we're seeing 35.5 as we enter the parking lot in EV mode. Ooh, so much salt. Alrighty, guys, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today with this new 9th Gen 2025 Toyota Camry XSE all-wheel drive with just about every available option, which of course we will put in the description. This thing's kind of plagued with dealer accessories. I think you're easily able to get one of these out the door under 40 grand with everything you need. And if you aren't super specific, I think you're out the door somewhere around $30,000. So great overall package. I've said it a million times. I sound like a broken record. I know, I'm sorry. But if you stuck around this long, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you don't already. I'll put that up on the screen. Post a lot more on there on my story, and you get the chance to see what I'm driving before it goes up on YouTube. Also, you're able to send me a DM if you ever want to reach out. But anyways, let's wrap this up. Let's give you one last look at this Camry. Anyone notice I got some new shoes? This is the first video I'm filming in the new year. What a good way to start it. Yeah, this new design language here on the front, pretty consistent with like everything that we're getting. Crown Signia, Prius, they all kind of look like this in the front now. So Toyota's kind of going down that road of corporate design language where everything looks very similar. And I'm not too mad at that. I think it's a nice balance here. So cool. All right. Well, if you have any questions about what it's been like to live with this thing, or if I left anything out, I mean, it's a Camry. We all kind of know this car pretty well. Just wanted to show you the new one, show you what it's like to commute it from downtown, and hopefully we did that justice today. So thank you all again so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.